Hello, lovely people, and welcome to the Lovely Digest podcast. I'm your host and friend Emily, sharing weekly wellness wisdom with you every Wednesday. My goal is to help you design your dream life and make the transition from being an information overload to being your own personal success story. Make sure to subscribe to get notifications every time a new episode comes out so you don't miss the latest simple and actionable tips for improving your well-being. Hello, everyone. Georgie says hello too. Welcome back to another episode of the Lovely Digest. Today, I am so excited to welcome on Amy Ballantyne. Amy is a TEDx speaker, executive life coach, sought-after workplace trainer, best-selling author, and host of the podcast Power to the People Pleasers. Amy says she co-creates transformational change with her clients. After all, our coaches and teachers and mentors can only give us the tools to success. When it comes down to it, it is up to us to make the change. Her mission is to inspire 10,000 humans to embrace their worthiness and release the daily overwhelm, pressure, and stress that is preventing them from living the life they desire. So without further ado, let's dive right into the conversation. Hello, and welcome to the Lovely Digest podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. If you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about yourself, introducing yourself, that would be awesome.
Awesome. Well, it's great to be here as well. Thank you. My name is Amy Ballantyne, and I'm really passionate about wellness. I've taken numerous certifications in this area, which includes things like nutrition. I know we're going to talk about that today. And this includes a precision nutrition certification, advanced health and wellness coach and practitioner. And one of the things that I love to help people with when it comes to nutrition is creating really strong habits around their eating. So we can talk about the nitty-gritty for sure, but what I noticed over time with all the years of helping people in their nutrition is we can know the things, but if we're not making a plan to implement it in a strong way in our life, it's all good to have the knowledge, but we're not preparing ourselves to take the action, right? So
Right.
I've been working with people for 15 years in a variety of ways around their well-being and their nutrition. And I do less of that work now, but still very passionate. I have one client right now who's very keen on his nutrition and his wellness goals. So I'm happy to dig in and share my nuggets here today.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So something I want to ask before we dive into the wellness part or the nutrition part is, what does wellness mean to you?
Oh my goodness. So I believe that wellness impacts everything in our life. And it's part of the reason why I still talk with corporate groups about it, that our home life is impacted by our wellness, our work life is impacted by our wellness. And what I mean by wellness is how we are feeling every single day, how we are thinking, how we are eating, how we are moving, how we are sleeping, how we are, fueling our body, the nutrients, how we are managing stress, how we interact as a human to ourselves and to others. I really believe it's all encompassing of many, many components, not just one piece. And I often joke when the only thing I was coaching on was well-being, I would say, wellness is so much more than just eating and exercise, because that happens to be, in my opinion, the main things people think about when they think of their health is, well, I'm going to start exercising and I'm going to start eating better. But there's so much more.
There is, yes. I love how we immediately agree on that, because it's just so multifaceted, which just kind of encourages the point that everyone is so different and approaches wellness so differently. So I can imagine that makes your job as a coach a little bit difficult. So how, when you start working with someone, do you kind of figure out like maybe what tips to give them or where to start from And maybe how could someone start to figure that out for themselves? Like, where do I start?
Hmm. For me, it's about asking good questions. And I think any of us as humans can ask ourselves better questions.
Mm.
So the questions to be asking yourself if you're starting on your own without help would be, how am I feeling? If I could wave a magic wand, I mean, this is one of the best ones. If I could wave a magic wand, what would be better in my life? What would be better with my well-being? And your first couple answers there are good indicators of where to start,
Mm.
because it's the thing that is most pressing on your mind. It's come up first or second. And I would say if that's the first couple of things out of your mouth, you've got some motivation. And then I would dig in underneath that to understand why. So if people are saying, um, you know, I'm feeling so much pain. I mean, I'm making this up on the spot, right? But I'm feeling so much pain. A lot of people are motivated to move because they want to get away from something painful, right? So if they're feeling a lot of pain, uh, that would be a good place to start. What are the foods that we can take in to help with pain? What are the movements that we can do to help with pain? How can we support the sleep to help with pain, right? So we can look at where the person is excited to make progress and to make change in their life, and then break apart the components of wellness that align with that goal.
I love that. That's so important to, look at all the facets in relation. You can always just go back to needing to branch out and look at all the different areas and to bring it back to,
Mm-hmm.
that one thing, and then move through each of those things that you want to change, and to look at all those aspects again, which again can seem kind of overwhelming. So when it comes to nutrition, how would you prioritize it, and how maybe in your own life, how do you remind yourself to maintain, and even if you're maybe not feeling it, or you don't want to get up to go to the gym in the morning, or you want to have like maybe a lot of sugar in the day, how do you remind yourself of your goal and prioritize those healthy habits?
Man, Emily, that is a big question. Okay. It's a big question. There's a lot of layers in there. Okay. First, I think getting clear on the why. Like, what is the underlying reason why you want to feel better? For me, my motivator has always been that I want to be healthy enough to live long enough to know my great grandchildren. So I know I control parts of that, and there's parts that I don't, right? But for what I can do, I want to do whatever I can. My mom lost both of her parents before she was 10, and so I didn't know those people. And this really connected for me when I had my first child, actually, in that I missed out on the cuddles and the stories and the time with those people. She missed out on it. She was less than 10, right? And so now that I have my own children, I want to do whatever I can to be here, to be a part of those moments, right? The laughs, the giggles, the tickles, the moments, the big moments, the little moments, all the moments, right? I want to do what I can. And I see my own kids with my parents and my husband's parents, and I want to have that. I saw my children with his grandparents, and I want to have that. I want to be the rockin' great granny who's able to bowl. I don't know why bowling, but who's able to bowl with her grandkids. Like, I want to be mobile. I want to be with my mental strength. I want to be with it. And so there are many components that I can do right now, because we know with the science of epigenetics that our lifestyle right now impacts us into our later years. And this is the driving fuel behind the why. So I'm always asking clients, on the where to start part of your question, is when you get clear on your why, there is a lot of power behind it. Does it mean I'm perfect? Heck no. Do I love chocolate? Oh, baby, right? Am I a regular human who sometimes has sugar? Yes. Did I have a bit more at the holiday season? Yeah, I mean, like, I'm a real live person, but I have a deep why. So my funny example of this is the other day I thought, what am I going to drink with my lunch? And I always drink water, but I decided to have a V8. Now there's no problem with V8. I think V8 is a great drink. So I pull the small can of V8 out, and I don't love the taste of it. And I was giggling in my own head, okay, to myself about how sometimes you maybe don't like the thing a lot, but the benefit outweighs the liking. Very few people follow this mindset, right?
Mhm.
Very few people follow this mindset. They're usually about, I have to like it in order to drink it. I have to like it in order to eat it, right? That's
Mhm.
why people don't eat vegetables as much. They don't drink water as much because it's not as fun as the other things. It's not as tasty or whatever. And I was giggling to myself that I really feel like in that moment, I was walking the talk, even though I'm saying it out loud now, but I was walking the talk with myself in that moment because I know that the benefit and the value of taking in that V8 with all those beautiful vegetables and getting another serving of vegetables, even though I don't 100% love the taste, it is worth it to me because it is another step towards the why.
Mhm. That's beautiful. So, would you mind talking a little bit more about the mindset of
Mm.
maybe why people, it's just human nature, I think, to choose the things that we like. And how can we kind of back out of that and say, whoa,
Mm.
and just bring awareness to that? Because I feel like
Yeah.
awareness is that first step to making the change.
Oh my goodness, Emily, my friend. Awareness is the first step. It's not what I talk about constantly. We want to make all these changes, but we're not aware of what's happening right now in our life in order to make the change. So the first step in the mindset is, okay, I know I want to be better at something. So get clear on where you're falling short right now. So, for example, if you're always drinking soda or pop, whatever you call it, if you're always drinking that, noticing how many times in the day you're drinking it. We can't change something we're not clear on, right?
Mhm.
So, noticing without judgment, without anger, without guilt, without meanness, without any of the yuck, just notice. Have a tally sheet. I had 6 today. I had 2 today. I had whatever. And then notice, okay, what are the triggers around why you're choosing that? What are the triggers? Is it's just easy? That's fine. It's present in the house. You see the cases nearby, right? You think that you like the taste. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but it's been a habit for so long, right? Getting really clear on what are the reasons. Maybe you drink it out of stress because it's the thing you've always done after a stressful meeting or something. What are the components as to why you're grabbing it? And then recognizing, okay, if I know that this is a habit that is not really aligned to the lifestyle and the health that I want to have going forward, what is a small shift I can make? Not, I'm really not a fan of like the cold turkey cut business. I don't think it's sustainable. I'm a fan of how do we go from 15 cans in the week to maybe 10?
Mhm.
I feel like it's a little bit more realistic. It's more sustainable. People don't feel like they're missing out when they are gradually shifting away and making a new relationship with a different beverage, like water, for example, or green tea as an alternative, right? Something that is going to bring them value, bring their body closer to what their goal is. And part of it for me is helping align the mindset to why water is closer to the goal, the lifestyle, the thing that they're hoping for than soda pop is for people. The challenge that we face is that we're constantly marketed all day long by these products, by these things that they're fine and they're okay and they're good for us. And Like all sorts
Yep.
of marketing that if we just gave our head a shake a little bit, we'd go, wait a second, like clearly all the chemicals and the flavorings and the colorings and all the things are not good for us. It's not aligned to what our body needs and wants. But it takes some enthusiasm. It takes some focus to shift away from that. But I really like pairing, and when we look at the habits of it, in setting ourselves up for success around if we no longer want to have as much pop or soda pop in general, how do we help ourselves actually make that transition? So one would be, getting those cases out of the house, not by drinking them, by dumping them or giving them away, right? Giving them to somebody who's not interested in making that change. Don't buy them. Removing that, maybe not even going down that aisle in the grocery store anymore.
Right.
Shifting away from the habit of, I had one client who constantly spoke about how on his break, he would always go to the gas station. He would always go to the gas station and he would go in and buy pop and chips. I was like, well, do you have to go to the gas station every time? Well, no, like it was simply a habit that he wasn't aware was causing the cycle to keep on going.
That's really interesting. When it comes to these habits and breaking them down and starting the new ones, how would you, after the awareness piece, go about explaining to clients, how to start implementing those new and lasting habits?
I'm really a big fan of pairing a habit you already know that you do no matter what, right? Going to the bathroom, brushing your teeth. For some people, coffee is like billion% habit. I don't drink coffee, but it's like they cannot do anything without the coffee. So pairing the habit next to the thing that they're 100% not going to miss. The next piece is labeling, putting the new goal, the new plan out in front so it cannot be forgotten. We are extremely busy people with billions of pieces of information coming at us constantly. And we think that by just saying, oh, I have this new goal, you say it out loud one time or even to in your head one time, that it's going to be enough for you to remember it. When you have a billion things going on in your day and your life, and we wonder why, oh, I forgot to do that. Well, did you make a note? Is it big and bright on your on your cupboard that you now want to, I don't know, do 5 squats before you drink your coffee? Is it in your face? Make it more in your face so that you're not relying on your memory to remember something that hasn't been a priority for you. It hasn't been important until this moment. So why would you remember it, right? Taking a little bit of the pressure off that, oh, I suck because I never remember. Well, people are forgetting stuff all the time until the thing has become important or a habit or it's in their face, right? Use your phone calendar is one of the most beautiful tools if you listen to it, right? The reminder feature, and then taking the small action. And if you can make the action part of the long-term plan, so if I'm going to try and come up with an example here, so that you want to do 5 squats to start moving your body more after the coffee. So before you pour, is it after the coffee? So you drink the coffee. As soon as you put your coffee mug down, where you always leave the coffee mug after you've drank it, you do 5 squats. And then because you've done that, what is the celebration? What is the next step that happens because of doing the 5 squats? Is it that you go and you mark it off on your calendar that, yes, I did the 5 squats? There's that reward right there. So the 5 squats may not show you in this moment, like your body doesn't like, beautiful muscles and sculpted and everything with 5 squats. But over time, you'll see the difference of having the 5 squats, right? If I ask you to do 5 squats today, maybe you say, well, what is that going to do? But if you did it over 100 days, do you think 500 squats would make a difference?
Right.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
So it's about doing the things enough times, but not losing the momentum or forgetting about it. So again, top of mind reminders, using some kind of reward like check off thing that's visible for your brain to go, oh yeah, I did do it. Yay me. Right.
The sticker chart that we all had when we were kids.
Yeah.
Going back to that, it's just like innate in us. But I feel like it's such a hard thing for me personally. I have so many like purgatory habits that they're just sitting on the side and they're always in the back of my mind because I don't put it in front of me. And then it almost is like a way for me to get down on myself and say, oh, I'm forgetting again. And
For sure.
why can't I remember this? And, it almost feels like self-love to give myself all the opportunity to succeed.
Yes.
And it can be so simple. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It is self-love to help yourself to do these things, right? Every act that, like brushing your teeth, brushing your hair, having a shower, these are moments of self-love if you choose to see them as such.
Mm.
Right?
Right. When it comes to being a coach, I know that on your website you talk a lot about stress. Is there any correlations that you see between someone who might be really stressed and their nutrition habits?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. There are a lot of links. There's a lot of literature around deficiency in vitamin D, omegas. Vitamin C is really linked a lot to our stressful times. If there was one nutrient and like food source to take in when you are in a high state of stress, it's vitamin C, because our adrenals really use up our vitamin C in a significant way when we're in a stressful state. And it's part of the reason why after the stressful state is over, we get sick, because we have exhausted that bank of vitamin C. Also, vitamin C is a water soluble nutrient, and so it actually gets used within about 4 to 6 hours. So if we're not taking it in constantly, and yes, there's supplementation, but like food also, if we're not taking it in, we're not giving ourselves that support that is required, because we use it up pretty quickly, and it's not stored. So we need to take it in more frequently. I mean, there's so much research around, like I said, vitamin D and omegas in our mental health, related to our mental health, which is related to our stress, and B vitamins for sure. I'm not a big fan of walking into a health food store though and going like, I'll have one of these bottles and this is on sale over here and that over there. And somebody on some podcast, on some article, on some social media post said I should maybe have some of this. And like, it's not a good plan. It's really not a good plan. I really like to use products that work in synergy with each other. So I'm often encouraging people, if they're looking to fill the gaps in their nutrition, to have a multivitamin, a quality one, not one that is on sale usually, and fill the gaps that way, looking at nutrition wise, the food that they're taking in, really looking at a colorful array of vegetables, mostly vegetables and fruit. I'm not a hater on fruit. Some people are haters on fruit, but I love the nutrition, the nutrients, the vitamins and minerals and antioxidants in fruit and vegetables. Colorful, a lot. If we can aim for that, having that, reducing things like our packaged and processed foods go a long way. But you can see that the mind, the brain, uses a lot of fuel, and you can see out in the world, individuals who are highly stressed often are not fueling their body to support the stress that they're taking in on a daily basis. There is an interesting link that you can see with the people that are eating high amounts of fast food, skipping a lot of meals. We're asking the vehicle, to run without the gasoline. Does your vehicle run without the fuel? No. We expect this amazing vehicle the most amazing vehicle ever to be created to do a billion things with no fuel or not great fuel.
Mm. And you get stuck in that cycle of eating poorly, being stressed because
Yeah.
of that, and then the stress making you feel like you need that satisfaction. And
Oh my gosh. And the challenge that I think we face too is the chemicals and things that are put into some of these foods that are quote unquote more tasty or uh, cause us to want more of them. And then now we're in that loop that it's not even about our self-control. It's not even about willpower. And yet people then get onto the spiral of despair and negativity and beating themselves up because, oh, I suck and I didn't do this well, when there's a chemical challenge that is happening also, right?
mm,
In that you didn't put the chemicals in the food. It's like,
right.
it's not about willpower. But if we can begin to fuel ourselves with more of that beautiful nutrition, the really colorful foods, I've seen a lot of the other things fall away because people start to feel so much better and they're like, okay, yay me, I'm doing some of these healthy things and I'm starting to notice the difference. Maybe I don't need to have this and this, and they start to fall away. And it becomes more purposeful. The why becomes more clear. The why, like that, fuels the factory of making more healthy choices. And I really do believe it's about 80-20. Like I said, I still eat chocolate. We had an ice cream on Sunday for our dessert as a family. Like, I'm a real human, but 80% of the time I'm doing things like I'm going to have this V8 drink with my lunch because I know that it's about what we do all the time versus the few some of the time moments.
Right, and it's about joy. Food brings joy. I love
Hmm.
sugar, I love chocolate, and so I want to have that little ritual of really enjoying it and looking forward to it rather than feeling bad about it after, because then that
Hmm.
kind of takes away from the enjoyment of it.
For sure. And I think that the link there is, and what I talk about with my clients is, if the treat is truly a treat, so once in the week, maybe twice, and you really are like, I'm looking forward to it. I know that I'm going to have birthday cake on that day, right? Like really, and then being in it, not scarfing it down. I'm sure I mean, you do this podcast. I'm sure you've had people tell you, I ate the whole bag of chips and I didn't even remember it.
Yes. Yep.
Everybody can raise their hand, right? The chemicals in there. I ate the whole bag of chips and I don't even remember it. It's being present with the treat and really savoring it, really enjoying it, really, smelling the smells, tasting the taste, all of the beautiful moment, having the fun with the family, however you're taking it in, and allowing it to be a treat versus an everyday occurrence. When it's an everyday occurrence, then I can see how people then beat themselves up because it's not a treat anymore. It's now become a daily thing that's happening. So if we can move it into the direction of a treat and really allow it to be that special once in a while thing, right? Then it's not an everyday thing that we have to worry about in terms of our overall, 7-day picture of what we're taking in.
Right. I have one more question for you
Mm-hmm.
before we sign off, and I ask you about your links and where people can find you. And I'm just curious, what is a lesson that you have learned and that you really value as a coach?
One lesson I have learned. Oh my
No,
gosh.
it's a hard one. It's another hard one.
That's a hard one. One lesson I have learned. You know, the one that just popped up for me? I'm going to just share this one that just popped up. This is a book that came out many, many, many years ago, but it's the Don't Stress the Small Stuff. Why is that coming up for me today? I think um, Don't Stress the Small Stuff is coming up for me because we can get caught in the loop of beating ourselves up over every little thing. And I think the message around don't stress the small stuff is if we can focus step number 1 on your most important goal and really make that a habit and be really committed and focused and stay the course on that one habit so it becomes something you do consistently. It doesn't have to be a giant thing. It's just a thing that, like I said, the 5 squats or the 5 push-ups or the, really dig into that and not sweat. Okay, there's 100 other things that I could be adding to my plate and adding to, the people who put on the goals. I'm going to do these 20 things to get healthy. Not stressing the other, get really clear and focused on the 1 or 2 things that you are going to commit to for this next 30 days, and allow the other things to be maybe on a list somewhere, but to fall away from adding more to your plate, to your pressure, to your sense of all of what you have to accomplish, and just start with those 1 or 2 things, and notice that really committing to those can make the difference in the long run.
That's beautiful. Thank you for joining me here today. If someone wants to learn more about you, find you online, work with you, where can they find you?
Yes, thank you. My website is amyballantyne.com. It sounds like Valentine, but it's spelled way different. And Amy Ballantyne on Instagram or LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm there. Excited to connect.
Awesome. I will have all those links below. Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amy, for joining me here today. And to all the listeners, thank you for being here. Make sure to like this episode, save it, subscribe to the show, and to check out Amy through her links below. Georgie also says thank you, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week. Well, that is it for now, lovelies. Thank you so much for tuning in. For more tips and to join our online community off the podcast, follow Lovely Digest on Instagram and Emily Beck on YouTube. The links will be below. To join our email community and get notified of new discounts, tips, and resources, follow the link in the show notes. If you thought this was helpful or know if it might help a friend, please make sure to share it, and if you feel inclined, leave a review. It helps get these tips in front of the people who may really benefit from this community we have here. See you next week.